Joining us right now, the co-founder, president, and CEO of Homecare Transitions right here in Battle Creek. Thom Unger is with us. Good morning, Thom.
Good morning. How are you, Tim?
Great. It is great to see you. Homecare Transitions. We've been hearing a lot about it for the last couple of years, but tell us a little bit about the story and the history of your organization.
Well, it's interesting. My partner is my sister-in-law, Pat Slayton. She's a master's prepared nurse practitioner. And she and I have been in this business for combined over 60 years. For me, I was in the housing industry back in the 80s and developed programs for people that were living and aging in place. And Pat was a public health nurse back in the 60s and 70s. We started Home Health Professionals back in 1993 and ran that organization for about almost 15 years before selling it to a public traded company. Went off and did things that people that sell businesses do. But, once home care is in your blood, it's hard to get away from it. And so we both ended up working first at Lifespan, as a matter of fact.
I remember,
Yeah, Pat ran the visiting nurse service, and I brought in private duty home care into the organization when Warren Sprick was running that organization. And then during the transition, when Bronson came in, I was a part of that interim group that helped them with that transition, came out of that organization, and that's when Pat and I said, this is really something that we love doing. And so we started Homecare Transitions then in the latter part of 2013 and started our first care back in 2014. And it's been going like wildfire ever since.
It's been a whirlwind 5 years. I remember back in the 70s in college, one of the books they made us read was this Philip Slater, The Pursuit of Loneliness.
Yes.
And it was they condemned individualism, which I didn't care for. But one of the points that they made a lot was that we changed after the Second War. It used to be we had generations living under the same roof.
Yes.
The grandparents were there and your whole life. But after that, everybody wanted their own house, their own little compartment. And, that's all well and good, but now we see that's created a lot of need for people as they get up in their later years to get quality care and still maintain their independence.
It's very interesting. Economics have a lot to do with that. As our country became more affluent, people traveled. In other words, and it used to be, once it was 30 and out, you worked at the same place for a lot of years. Mm-hmm. That's no longer the case. People are much more mobile now. And so what we see is that families are in all parts of the country. However, there's an interesting trend, Tim. What's happening now is a lot of the folks my age are taking care of their elder parents in their own home. And they need help doing that. In fact, I'm one of those. I brought my folks up from Florida. They were unable to care for themselves, and we were able to bring care in. Of course, it helps that I have an agency that can help do that.
Well, that's a good segue into the types of services that you guys are providing. There's one right there.
Yeah, exactly right. And it can be confusing to the consumer. When you hear the term home health care, typically they're referring to Medicare home health, which is post-acute, and somebody's been in the hospital. They need a nurse to come. Maybe they've had surgery and need a wound change and, dressing changes on a wound, etc. Home care is a little different. This is under the Medicare rules with post-acute care and home health. There aren't any hourly shifts. It's visits. Usually it's the nurse that comes and visits. There might be a home health aide that comes and gives a bath. But home care, the work that we do, is more extended or long-term care. So there are many cases that will provide care for the remainder of the life of the individual over time. And it's shift work. So in other words, we might have a home health aide or a personal care attendant come in, help with things like bathing, proper nutrition, medication reminders. And what's very interesting is the government has found out this is what's keeping people at home and not back in the hospital. And so there's been a change in the whole reimbursement idea. So what we're seeing now is the development of new programs. In fact, many of the Medicare Advantage programs will be reimbursing agencies like ours to take care of people on hourly shifts for personal care in the home to help keep them healthy and from admissions to hospitals, and that saves the overall system dollars because it's the hospitalization that's the most expensive
It's a
part of care.
win-win-win for
Yes,
the
it is.
family, for the patient, for the taxpayers, everybody.
You bet.
What geographically, what's the area that you serve at Homecare Transitions?
Well, that's also interesting. We were able to have a relatively large footprint. Our main office is here in the Battle Creek area. So we do Calhoun County for sure. But we also have contracts to take care of people up in the Grand Rapids area. We're now in the midst of contracting in Lansing. So we provide all of Southwest Michigan, all the way down to the border. We stay in the state of Michigan, but we're all the way over to the lake. So all of Southwest Michigan is our catchment area.
Wow. Well, that's a pretty good overview. Can we get you to come back and maybe we get into the nuts and bolts of
Absolutely.
some of the services and some of the people behind your organization, Thom?
Absolutely.
Excellent, excellent. In the meantime, if people want to find out more right now, I'm sure there's a place on the internet or a phone number.
Yeah, home health professional, homecaretransitions.net is our website, and our phone number is area code 269-883-6002.
All right, that's 883-6002 or homecaretransitions.net. Thom Unger, thanks for visiting with us today. We'll talk to you again soon.
Tom, thanks so much.